do not ever send confidential information into ChatGPT. You're going to have to start to consider the operational security of your company at this point. Because if there are trade secrets, IP, and other things that you don't want OpenAI to see or consume, then do not send it to ChatGPT. Now, here's where things are getting better on that end. We're also at the point now where there are open source models like GPT-4. So ChatGPT, you choose either GPT 3.5 or GPT-4. Those are the language models. There are now open source language models that are as good as GPT-4 or 3 that you can download and have made and set up for you, either internally on your own servers or your internal cloud, or in a cloud server that you have control over that no one else has control over, so you can protect and keep all things secure. And you can have your own version of ChatGPT running based on not just the language model, but you can feed it company data and information so that you have a fine-tuned model that's trained on your company stuff, whatever data you want to give to the model. And so it's like you have your own internal model that you can use. And yes, Maya said in the chat, OpenAI said they're going to allow us to opt out of sharing info. Yes, they've said that you can choose to keep your conversations private. Now, here's one thing I will say. Just because a company says they are doing that, you should not trust that they're doing that. Given what I know, like I don't think at all they're bad guys. I believe that when they say we don't look at it, but things can go wrong. Tech stuff happens all the time. I think they have good intentions. I think they intend to not see what you sent to them. But the reality is, if you're interacting with their model, they see that something is going on, even if maybe they try to mask it or encrypt it. So what I will say, best practice moving forward, best practice is for you to have your own internal company model. Think of it as it's not a chatbot, but think of it as a chatbot that's trained on your company information, because GPT-4 or GPT-3 is not trained on your company information. It's not fine-tuned or customized for your particular scenario or business or market or anything else, right? And the only way for you to have something that's fine-tuned and customized for your company is to have your own model hosted somewhere. Now, this used to cost a bunch of money, like $50K, $60K or so to have it done, set up and trained. You can have this done for less than $10,000 now. And the only ongoing cost would be the cost of making the calls to the model, but we're talking about cents, like 0.0002 cents per call that you make. So it's cheap and is getting cheaper to do this on your own. In lieu of that, and for the time being, I would recommend that you use other models so ChatGPT is one model out of like 30, 40 of them. For your own sake and for your team, become familiar with just a handful of tools. ChatGPT to start as a language model, to become familiar to interact with it. Other tools are Stable Diffusion, DALL-E, or Midjourney for images. And then I'll put this in here. This is probably one of the better video tools that I've found and used. It's HeyGen with a G, HeyGen.com. Like hey, the greeting, and GEN.com. It's great for video cloning. So 5 or so tools, if you use them and become familiar with them, you'll be able to use any tool because they all function very much in the same way.